This is Underground Opera. Hello, friends, fiends, family of Undergroundopolis. Remember, we do this show every Wednesday night. Every single one of them, except last week where I had technical difficulties and wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault this time. It's been my fault other times, but this time there's nothing I can do about it. So I'll probably drop 2 episodes this week to make it up to you guys. And if you are in Louisville, Kentucky this weekend, you know what? I'm going to plug in 21st in Germantown, like my second home, 1481 South Shelby Street, Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know if there's any juggalos that listen to this, but Twisted will be there. Freaking Twisted. Freak show, juggalo, Twisted serial killer. Come on, man. I'm pretty sure I might poke my head in the door for that one. Absolutely. Yeah. I've never seen Twisted. I've seen ICP. I've even went to the wrestling things they put on before, but I've never seen Twisted, so I'm probably going to pop in there. So I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time. I'm just going to mention my friends that just wanted to make sure, like I always do, to mention 21st in Germantown. They take care of me, and I take care of them. They'll take care of you. So I'm going to bring my guest right on. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
My name is Chris Feldman. I am the front man, so singer, rhythm guitarist of the rock band Ronin from Long Island, New York. Happy to be here, Rob.
I love New York. He's probably like, yeah, everybody not from there says that.
Yeah. But sometimes not so very nice things to say, which can be warranted at times, yes. But yes, very proud to be from New York.
I like crossing that bridge that costs $25. Which one is it? The George Washington?
It's probably the GW. There's a few bridges that are quite costly.
Just to get in
both ways. Yeah, that bang you both ways. Some of the bridges they'll get you.
Oh, I thought they didn't bang you on the way out. I thought they just banged you on the way in.
Certain bridges get you both ways. So it's
yeah.
They gotta funnel their money somehow.
Okay. Oh, I don't care. I would pay $25 to cross that bridge, man. So tell me, what does Ronin mean?
Ronin's it's like a Japanese word for a samurai that doesn't have a master, that kind of is like a wanderer type thing. And when we decided to name the band, it sort of happened by accident. We just needed a band name. We had formed in like mid 2018. It was me, the drummer, Justin, and our first bassist, Andrew. And we were going to a show for a band that wanted us to open for them in the spring. So we were hanging out, and, the question came up. They're like, oh, you guys going to play for, in front of the band in April? We're like, yeah. Well, what's your band name? We're like, oh, we should probably get a band name if we're going to be in a band. So we just sat down, sort of spitballed some ideas, and Ronin came up, and, it sounds cool. It's short. It's only 5 letters. It's pretty easy to spell, pretty easy to say. There's that Robert De Niro movie, Ronin, which is great. And it's sort of kind of thematically almost fit our style of music, which is we just try to kind of play really what we want to play. And it just always happens to fall in rock genre. It's not specifically hard rock. It's not just, there's so many different subgenres in rock music now, especially like metal, that it gets like nauseating when people like look in chat rooms and on Facebook posts. And it's like, no, this band isn't post-hardcore grunge. This band is really post-hardcore black metal. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's just like, they're playing. It's like metal. Like we don't really think the denominations matter so much. It's like, so one of our songs will be a little bit softer. One of our songs will be a little bit poppier. One of our songs will be a little bit heavier. Like if we could use an example on the new album, our closer, the song is called Wonder. It's like a classic sort of Skinner type ballad. And then meanwhile, you start off the album with Saturn's Portal, which is our lead single. And that one has like an old school sort of late 80s, Metallica type feel. And then has like, you sprinkle in a little Avenged Sevenfold in certain spots. And then it has like a cool breakdown at the end. So we're not just sort of pigeonholed into one spot. And we kind of like to be like free and to wander around the genre. So that's kind of Ronin type kind of fits our like idealism when it comes to how we approach writing our music and what type of music we like to. So we're we're rock musicians, but we're not any type of specific corner of the rock world. We like to kind of go across the whole spectrum. And to me, really to us, it's the most fulfilling. I think we don't shortchange ourselves by like putting ourselves in a box, because we see what happens to bands when you do that. When you're only known for one thing, and then you deviate from that in the slightest, they come after you. They come after you hard. And
yeah, I think it was Coleman Williams when he was on the show, which is Hank III's son. He said, "I think the worst thing you can do to a musician is to find them the one genre." And I was like, that is like one of the most genius things anybody said on the show so far.
Yeah, and honestly, it's true, because and I've heard musicians say it before, and sometimes it's hard to take some of the more famous musicians seriously, because it's like, oh, you can say whatever you want, because you think of someone like Paul McCartney or something, you could put out anything and it's going to sell great. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. You can
right.
fart. You could fart into a microphone and you could sell 1 million copies. Like people will be like, "Wow, this is brilliant." But so sometimes when you hear them say things, you're like, "Oh yeah, sure." You're just a jaded, famous, successful musician. But I think it's the truth. Like that, when it comes to that, I really think you want to explore and to not be cheesy and cliche. It's like it is an art form, and you want to be able to express yourself and not just be like, oh, I'm very one note. This is all we're known for. It's like, no, I want to be known for lots of different aspects, because I'm not just one type of person. And there's also 4 of us in the band. We're not all one personality. We kind of come together and fuse all of our tastes and our life experience all come together to sort of create Ronin. But it's not just one thing over and over and over again. And that's kind of what we're proud of on this album. Our first album, we did it also, but on this album in particular, definitely made a giant leap forward as far as no 2 songs sound the same. They do have that Ronin type of feel to them, but it's not like, oh, wow, that song really kind of just sounded like that last song, and you kind of forget what song is what. Like there's a distinct, okay, that was not this song. That song ended, now a new song has begun. And some bands I know can get caught up in that, like, all right, this is the kind of the same formula as the last song. It's verse, chorus. Oh, here's a double bass drum, kick drum, blast beat, breakdown. Here's some screaming into the final chorus, and that's it. It's like, all right. And I don't want to do 8 songs of that on an album that we put together. It's like it kind of gets tiresome. It gets a little boring, and especially when you guys, when you're working so hard on something, you want. You don't want to look back on that time and effort and money and stress and passion you put into it and be like, oh man, like that's what we did. Like we didn't explore anything. We didn't try anything, like didn't take any risks. And, so that's another thing we're proud of with this album.
Is it Saturn's Portal?
Yep.
I wrote that down wrong. My bad.
It's a weird title. It's a weird title.
Is there a video for that?
Yeah, we have a music video got shot by a great director from the island, Tom Flynn. He's done bands like Lamb of God, some more. Yeah, he did, I think, 2 of the videos for their last album. He's done another bunch of other prominent acts. One of them's Covet with Yvette Young. She's like a virtuoso guitarist, and she's got like a 3-piece band and goes around. She's very like eclectic sounds and does like a lot of tapping, open tuning. She's fantastic. But he's very, very talented guy. We had a really good time shooting the video with him. We did a short little 15-minute Zoom with him, talked about what we wanted to do. He got on board. He had some ideas of what we wanted to do. And initially we actually planned on doing the video for a different song. And then we pivoted, sent him, be like, is this okay? We're going to change the song up. Do you think the themes will still work? He goes, yeah. He's like, I'll change some different things, bring in some different props. He's like, it's not going to be a problem. And so we showed up. We went to a place in Amityville, New York, famous for the horror house. Yeah. We did not film there. We filmed at a place called Threshold HQ, and we kind of just banged right through it. We booked it for 9 hours, and we were done in 6. And Tom even was like, he's like, normally bands are taking a lot of breaks and like long breaks in between takes. He's like, you guys just powered through this, and we paid for it the next day. Like, we had some severe whiplash. There was like walking around like Uncle Fester. Can't like you were turning like Batman '89 and Keaton in the suit. So it was a rough day the next day. We paid for it, but that's another kind of approach we take. We like to just we go all out, and so Tom Flynn, hats off to him and the guys at Threshold for housing us. So we could make the video everything we wanted to, and it came out great. It looks super professional, which is a testament to Tom. Even though it's us on the video, it's still kind of weird to like look at it and be like, this is like a legitimate music video. This is right up there with like the other bands that we see, and like you could play it alongside, and it doesn't look like we filmed it ourselves, like in a backyard somewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we wanted to go for that professional quality, and we were able to kind of do that. So we set our minds to it, and we found the right guy. And so Saturn's Portal, it made sense. The lead single, you should probably make a video.
I swear, man, I can't remember if I was in like Southern New York or if I was in New Jersey or Rhode Island, but I thought every house looked like the Amityville Horror House.
Well, there's a lot of those towns that popped up at the time when they were built. All the houses, those townships were all built the same house over and over and over again. I don't know if you're familiar with Levittown. It's a famous town on Long Island, but the guy who built that town, every house was the same size, cookie cutter, and it was to make affordable housing. So I think, you're not wrong in thinking, wow, all these houses look very much, you think they're like looking at you with the eyes and the side.
Yeah. Like that looks like like
a lot of that going on.
Oh man, it's still pretty up there, man. It's just some of that area is just amazing looking.
Yeah, New York's cool like that because it's got the variety of like Long Island, the East End. There's like farmland and stuff like that. Then there's vineyards and wineries and beaches and the lighthouse, and then you come closer, you get to the city life, and then you go to upstate, they call it. Anything north of the cities, people consider upstate, and it's more rural, and like there's a lot of different aspects of New York where when people say New York, you just think of New York City, but it's a cool state. It's a huge state, and
it is.
There's so many places to visit that I've lived here for 34 years, and I still haven't seen a portion of the state.
Well, there's what highway is it that we take from Buffalo to New York? I don't remember what it's called, whatever turnpike or whatever. But there's a gas station every 35 miles and a rest stop, which like pretty much exactly every 35 miles. You can count. It's very dependable.
Yeah, by design, that so there's nothing creeps up on you. Where if you miss one, it won't be like, all right, well, we have 9 hours until the next rest stop. So.
Right. It's not like Kentucky or Indiana. Next rest stop, 64 miles.
You're like, oh man, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I can make it.
Did I read you shared the stage with Accept?
Yeah, 2 times we were lucky enough, fortunate enough to link up with them through a promoter called Loaded Concerts. They've been around for 2 decades on the island in the tri-state area, and they book a lot of the venues. And they were bringing, it was December of 2021. We got to go upstate to Poughkeepsie in New York, to a place called the Chance Theater, and we opened for them. And I mean, that was probably to date, probably my favorite show that we played. It was the most we ever played to. It was probably like just under 1,000 people. I think max cap on the place was 950. And when Accept played, it was definitely close to that because you couldn't, you're like sardines. When we played, it was maybe like 600-700 people. It was
That's cool.
it was. I mean, for us, it was amazing. It was a great opportunity. We got a lot of good feedback. So that was a great show. And then we opened for them again on a place on the island called Stereo Garden back in last October. Was it last October? Can't remember when the heck that was. I think it was last October. I can't believe it's been almost a year, which is wild. Time flies. It's horrifying. But I think last October we opened for them again, which was like another great show. And just to have the opportunity to share a stage with like that type of band that's been around for 40 plus years, like it was wild. You know, they're not one of like our top bands, but you know, the respect level is there. It's just for staying power and for the fact that they can still sell these types of venues, and especially overseas. You know, in Europe,
Oh yeah,
rock and metal always do better overseas, but like, you know, they're headlining festivals and stuff. It's, you know, so to get a
yeah,
chance to be direct support for them, it was like phenomenal to do that. And like, you know, a lot of people our age are like, who's Accept? We're like, you know, so like people like in like their 40s, 50s, they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, so like some aunts and uncles were freaking out. And
balls
you
to the
know,
wall, man.
yeah, I mean, that was the one that like people recognized, like, oh, I think I saw that at Headbangers Ball, like when I was
Yeah.
younger,
Oh yeah.
back when MTV played music videos and stuff like that. Like, so I always remember seeing that as a kid, and so getting that opportunity and just seeing like their fan base was great up in Poughkeepsie. Like they were so welcoming and inviting, and they were so kind to us after we got off stage. We joke because one of the covers that we like to play, we don't like to play a lot of covers because we really like to, you know, most of the time you have 30 minutes on a set. And you're like, you want to play your stuff, you know, because
Yeah.
we're an original band. But you know, we love our inspirations very much, and one of our favorite songs to play is "For Whom the Bell Tolls." And you know, me and my drummer were hanging out after we're done. The next band went on, waiting for Accept, and this big, huge guy comes over with like tears in his eyes. Who puts his arm around us. He's like, "That was the best I've heard that song in 20 plus years. My God, I heard the opening chords and like just tears came to my eyes. I was like, oh my God, like that was like such a great compliment. Like I think to this day I've carried confidence because of that confidence because of that compliment. You know, it's like it's carried me all the way to this day. So like that was a great gig, and we can't say enough nice things about the people in Accept, their crew and everything. Very accommodating, super kind. You know, they didn't rush us. They made sure we stayed on time, which we always do. We always make sure because we don't want to be that band that screws up other
Hmm.
bands. You know,
Yep.
we're not lollygagging. We're not sticking around trying to take pictures and stuff. Like if there's time for that, great. But you know, we like to fill the set time with music as much as we can.
Yeah.
And some of our songs are a little bit longer, so sometimes it can be a little harder to fit as many songs as we can. Because sometimes like you wind up with 5 songs in a set for 30 minutes, you're like, damn, we only played 5 songs. It's like, oh, it stinks.
Well, since it is my show, we're going to talk about my favorite song. I'm going to be
Sure.
selfish a little bit.
Let's go.
Valhalla Awaiting.
Nice. Great choice. Our bass is going to be very pumped.
Well, I'm a bassist. So
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that sticks
bias.
out.
Yeah. That's a good one. But that one's fun. That one came together pretty quickly. We had majority of that song was left over because originally we intended to do 10 songs on our first album, but then we looked at cost for the album. We're like, all right, let's cut 2 songs.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Eventually, you run out of money.
Yeah, it's the way of life. So we're like, all right, we knew we had it. We knew we really liked it. We're like, all right, we'll just revisit it when we eventually do a second album. And we kept going back and forth about how to start the song. And I always liked the idea of starting it with just like a little bass lick to like lead into the main riff. And so we went to Bo, our bassist, who was the newest member of the band, the youngest member of the band. And we're like, you know, what do you think? How do you think you can lead into it? And he's like, all right, give me like the week and I'll come back. And he came up with like his little bass solo. He did a little jam with the drummer, with Justin. And it kicks in. You know, it's like ballsy to start the song with a bass solo, especially in this day and age. You know, we've been told like, oh, your music's like it's a little dated, like it's good, but we're like yeah, it's dated, but like there's nothing
I
else
don't
out
think
there that
so.
sounds like. But you know what I mean? Like there's nothing else that sounds like that, like right now. So it's like this is the type of music we like. You know, we like to listen to this type of music, and we like that style. We like the tones. We love the grooves. We love those types of power chords and doing his little bass solo. Dated it if it is. We wanted to do it because it sounded great and we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
We toyed around with the idea of making it a separate track, and then having Valhalla its own thing, but it just didn't feel. I don't know, it felt like cheap. It felt like it would be copping out. So we like, yeah, screw it. I'm glad you like that one. That one's cool. That one's got like some Allison Cheney type verses with the vocal harmonies. We love the bridge. The bridge came together really cool because our lead guitarist, we're fortunate that he's also a really good singer and vocalist, and so to have him in there layering harmonies and coming up with extra parts in the background, choral parts, like it's invaluable because it adds a little something extra to the songs. And I think that kind of gives us a little distinction from other rock artists, like having those extra little harmonies and harmonies maybe you wouldn't really expect in like a hard rock song. Like at the final chorus, there's some like of those subway style harmonies where it sounds like it's kind of going past you. And it's like almost like a doo-wop type thing. It's like, whoa, it's like it kind of catches you off guard, but like it just works within the context of the song. So I'm so happy to hear that he's going to be thrilled. Bo is going to be thrilled.
That is all our time we have for now. Thank you for listening to Undergroundopolis. Remember, we do this every Wednesday night, bringing you new and exciting artists every week. Be sure to hit up their websites and social media and stream or download their music. If you like this show, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, any streaming platform, and leave us a review as well. I'm your host, Rob Lyon, signing off.